What is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today, we are diving into a wild ride of medical misinformation, MLM manipulation, and a certified nurse practitioner in Canada shilling Touchstone Essentials, an MLM company, while pushing some of the most dangerous health claims I've seen in quite some time. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Erin Bees. I cover anti-multi-level marketing companies, anti-scam, and also unethical influencers, which is kind of a crossover of what we're doing here today. She's using her own child's medical history to push unproven detox products, and let me tell you, the contradictions in her story are mind-blowing. Let's get into it, shall we?
You should share your story because it's important. It could save the quality of somebody's life or even their life. And I know it's not easy, so I'm going to go first. When my son was just 7 days old, I got a call from somebody filling in for our doctor saying that I needed to stop everything that I was doing and head to the local children's hospital and have my son's blood drawn and give them a name of a pharmacy that they were going to fax the medication to, and that my son had been identified as having congenital hypothyroidism in the heel prick test. And 2 days later, on the Monday, I would have to meet with an endocrinologist to talk about all of this. And I had no idea what any of this even was, but I knew it wasn't something that I wanted for my son. So fast forward about 2 years, and my son started showing signs of agitation and some, I guess, delays. And we started talking about maybe there was just more to it than just a mood or what have you. Because he was either really, really sunny or he wasn't. And one New Year's, my stepdaughter had a friend over who was a behavioral therapist. My stepdaughter's only 10 years younger than me. So she had a friend who's a behavioral therapist, and she slept over. And the next day I said, do you have any advice on how I could get my son off the bottle? And she said, well, first I would have his hearing tested, and then I would have him screened for autism. And I mean, even though we had started talking about maybe there was more to this, this just came out of nowhere for me, and I was just sinking inside. But obviously I kept my composure and I kept talking to her because I wanted to hear what she had to say and learn what I could learn from her. And so immediately after that, I got an appointment with a gentleman. My son's father happened to be working for a doctor at the time who actually was a specialist in this field. So we managed to get in quite quickly. The waits here in Canada are 1.5 years, last I knew, which is awful. I can't even believe parents have to wait that long.
Let's break down her claims one by one. At the beginning of the video, she talks about how her son was diagnosed with congenital hypothyroidism at 7 days old. That's a serious medical condition. It sounds like doctors handled it immediately. They ran tests, they prescribed medication, and followed, from what it sounds like, proper protocol. So far, this sounds like standard medical care. However, I do want to point out the fact that she said that she, how do I word this, skipped the line. Obviously, I don't live in Canada, so I don't know how serious that might be. But if you live in Canada and have any insight on that, I don't know how ethical it is to call in a favor with your husband's coworker from the hospital to skip the line and get in front of people that have been waiting to be seen. I don't think that's very ethical, but who am I to ask somebody in a multi-level marketing company to be ethical?
But my son was screened and they said he did not have autism, but he did have severe expressive and receptive language delays with behavioral issues and sensory issues. He would occasionally hit his head off things and occasionally run into traffic. He was a bit of a runner, which was very, very stressful. Through our program coordinator in nursery school, we got involved in a program called KIP. And this program was intentionally built with 7 boys, and 5 of them had autism. Then there was my son, and then there was a little boy with Down syndrome, and they all were speech delayed. We were in the program, and the parents would be in a little green room where we would watch the children and chat amongst ourselves. Most of the parents were farther in their journey. I had probably about a year under my belt of just speech therapy and things like that. After we had his screening, I was just doing what I knew how to do and going on that route. But in this green room, I started learning about things like Doctors, which stands for Defeat Autism Now, and probiotics, and a really incredible woman named Melissa taught me about a special that David Suzuki had talking about the gut biome and its relation to bacteria and its effect on autism. Now, my son's not autistic, but it's how I think of it. It's just a different level of toxicity and nutrient deficiency.
Okay. Some major red flags, in my opinion, here. So, despite knowing her son wasn't autistic, she still spent time, from the sounds of it, in autism parent groups where she was exposed to pseudoscientific claims about gut health and toxins. And now she's getting ready to talk about how she's deep into Defeat Autism Now doctor territory, a discredited pseudoscientific movement that promotes dangerous treatments like bleach enemas and unproven detoxes.
With my new information, I went home and I watched the special, and I was gobsmacked by the new things I was learning. And then my son got another ear infection, and this was his millionth ear infection, and this one was bleeding. It was so bad. So I took him to the doctor, and obviously the doctor wanted to put him on an antibiotic, and I said, I'm really afraid. I just watched this special by David Suzuki, and I'm worried about how this could affect him. And she said, well, do you want him to have a painful ear infection that bleeds? And obviously I didn't. So I didn't know what to do at that point, because I was just at the beginning of my holistic journey. So I went out and I bought the probiotic, and I gave it to him at the same time, which is obviously counterintuitive.
Okay. Time out, flag on the play. Let's talk about what I believe to be her biggest contradiction in her story. She claims that after watching a David Suzuki documentary that she became terrified of antibiotics. Now, was she in the medical field at that time? I don't know. She didn't disclose that in this story. I think if she were, she would probably understand how important antibiotics are when it comes to infections, especially specific kinds of infections, bacterial infections. So I don't know if that's the case or not. But she then refused to give her son antibiotics, or was resistant to it, because she believed antibiotics would destroy his gut biome. Now, here's a quick little fact check. Antibiotics do affect gut bacteria, but they're medically necessary in cases like severe ear infections, especially an ear infection that is bleeding. Wild. Gut bacteria do not cause autism, speech delays, or behavioral issues. The real risk isn't toxins from antibiotics, it's untreated infections. And that sounds like a very severe infection.
But within a week of being on the probiotic, my son at 3 years old went from only being able to point out one animal in a book to all the animals in that same book.
Correlation is not causation. I feel like she would know that, right?
And it was like seeing a ghost. I was shocked, and it was incredible. And then a week later, he could point out all his body parts. And I immediately booked with a doctor and got him gluten-free and dairy-free.
Oh my God. So this probiotic just magically fixed his speech delay in a week. Huge red flag. Kids don't suddenly gain speech overnight from probiotics. This sounds to me like it was natural development, not some I was going to say weird, but I'm going to say that. Not some weird miracle cure. Do I think probiotics are weird? No, but I think in this case, she's making it weird. She's making it weird. You know what I mean?
And the minute we removed dairy, all the ear infections stopped and the behaviorals lessened dramatically. And when he went off of gluten, he started talking immediately. I had a calendar on my fridge, and I could not keep up with the words, running back and forth to the fridge to write the new words. This is how fast my son got his recovery.
So now we're in full detox mode. She claims that removing dairy and gluten instantly cured his sensory issues, stopped his ear infections, and got him talking. Let's fact check this. Gluten and dairy do not cause speech delays or sensory issues. And I believe she's going to talk more about a gene mutation. Let's actually hear what she says about that first.
Well, I think a lot in my son's situation had to do with he has a single 2 single MTHFR gene SNPs. So for him and for, I mean, I've heard numbers from 44% to 70% is the highest I've heard of the population do have MTHFR gene SNPs, which means we cannot handle folic acid. Well, our gluten and many of our gluten-containing products are fortified and enriched with folic acid. And that's a synthetic vitamin. It's not a real vitamin. Our body would have to methylate or convert that into folate in our body to be usable.
The MTHFR gene mutation she talks about is a real thing, but it does not cause the severe symptoms that she's describing here. The folic acid toxicity claim is not backed up by science. And this is where it gets really dangerous. Instead of just supporting her son's health, she goes all in on some holistic mumbo jumbo, because I believe that's what that is.
So for us, we can't use this vitamin and it ends up making us nutrient deficient, which then causes a whole cascade of different issues. So if I had to do this all over again, I would obviously be whole foods. We're plant-based, but at least whole foods diet, be gluten-free, be dairy-free. I would put my child on a PBX heavy metal detox. It's incredible. So many kids are getting so many skills back that they had either lost or never gained. Sensory issues, communications, even dietary issues like aversion to eating certain things that these children are recovering from. It's incredible. So I would do the PBX, the full body detox, so PBX, pure body, and fulvic acid. I would also look into any kind of methylated vitamins. We take 10x Health methylated multis. My son is 15 now though, and he actually wins awards at school, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he does stop motion animation, and he's doing incredibly.
I think that's great. I think that's great that her son is doing well. I love that so much. Are we all shocked that she was bringing up a multi-level marketing company's product, telling this story and saying, oh, this is what fixed it? Yeah. The Touchstone Essentials PBX Heavy Metal Detox is what she's referring to here. And I know it's probably the moment that we've all been waiting for, but let's be very, very clear. There is no scientific evidence that zeolite sprays detox heavy metals from the body. The body naturally detoxes through the liver and the kidneys. You don't need any overpriced MLM spray in order to detox. The FDA has cracked down on MLMs for falsely claiming their products cure autism, which, by the way, is not a disease and it doesn't need to be cured, because what are we doing? Like what? A major red flag in this is when she says so many kids are getting back skills they lost. This, in my opinion, is straight up exploiting neurodivergent children. MLM reps love to prey on desperate parents by making them believe their child's autism or developmental delays are something to fix with a product. This is unethical and it's extremely harmful.
But if you didn't want to go with that route, I would say to look at any whole food greens that you can add the bees back into your child's diet. If your child is a picky eater, I've heard so many parents saying, oh, I could never do that, my child's such a picky eater. If there is a whole food, one whole food that they like, give them more of that. My son only liked apple, so guess what? He got a lot of apple. You have to do what you can do, but these synthetic foods are hurting them. And you love them, and I wish you all the best. And if you have any questions, all the products I recommend are in my bio, and I'm here for you. Good luck.
Oh my God. So then at the end of it, of course, she's going to plug her MLM link. So after all of this emotional manipulation, her final message is not to trust doctors, but to buy her MLM products. Oh my God. As if that's not bad enough. And that's extremely bad, in my opinion. I also wanted to highlight how she is marketing this stuff. We're going to watch a video that she shared, and just to preface you guys with what's going on here, this is somebody else's child that she is claiming these Touchstone Essential products have cured this child's symptoms of autism. Just saying it that way, autism is not a disease. It doesn't need to be cured. What are we doing here? So, content warning, okay? Trigger warning. Please prepare yourself. This is really bad. This is a very young child, so let's watch it together.
I'll be back soon, okay? Yeah. Okay, ready?
Say more. Yay, baby! Oh my goodness. How do you say no?
No.
Oh my goodness. How do you say yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do y'all see that? Comment toddler and I'll send you a sales code and directions. I hate it. I hate it so much. I think that that is disgusting. None of this is backed by science. I have so many questions. Was this child in speech therapy? We don't know, but it is deceptive, in my opinion, and let's talk about my final thoughts and why this is so harmful. So, according to her bio, she's a certified nurse practitioner in Canada, somebody who should be, in my opinion, upholding science-based medicine, not selling MLM detox scams to vulnerable parents. And let's talk about speech therapy for a second. Do I have any speech language pathologists in the comments watching right now? If I do, let me know. Let us know. Speech language pathologists are highly trained experts. They go through a minimum of 6 to 8 years of education, including a master's degree and supervised clinical training before they can even start practicing. They specialize in more than just speech. SLPs help with language development, cognitive communication, feeding and swallowing disorders, social communication skills, and even neurological conditions. Therapy takes time. Unlike what this MLM rep is claiming, speech delays don't just disappear overnight. And the bottom line, speech therapy is a real science backed by decades of research, not something that can be replaced with an MLM detox spray. By the way, shout out to all the speech therapists out there. Y'all are appreciated. Listen, parents, if your child has developmental differences, seek advice from real doctors and speech therapists and specialists, not MLM reps. Report these claims whenever you see them. And guys, drop a comment. What are your thoughts on the MLM reps pushing this kind of medical misinformation? Let's chat about it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more anti-MLM deep dives, first looks, unethical influencer debunking, and some fitness things. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks for watching all the way through, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.